Welcome to the Bioptimizers Awesome Health Podcast. And now here's your host, Wade T. Lightheart.
What is Awesome Health? It's actually an acronym that stands for air, water, exercise, sunshine, optimizers, mental beliefs and attitudes, and education. These are the pillars of peak health, and my team and I have created a free 12-week course that you can use to transform. Each day, you'll get a written and video lesson delivered to your inbox. Everything is covered from the foundations of digestion to advanced alternative therapies few people know about. And again, it's 100% free. Just go to bioptimizers.com. That's bioptimizers.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Wade T. Lightheart from Bioptimizers with another edition of the Awesome Health Podcast. And I have a couple of great guests today. We're going to be talking about how two full-time dancers scaled a celeb-approved fitness business. And what we're going to talk about today is something that's near and dear to my heart, is how the wide-ranging benefits of rebounding, including mental, emotional, and physical stamina, plus memory, sensory awareness, and coordination, can all be achieved in the comfort of your home under the guidance of these two experts. Let me share with you a little bit about our guests. Aly Giampolo and Colette run a company called The Ness, okay? And so they did like 20 plus years of their lives living and studying and practicing movement. And anyone who's known a professional dancer knows how difficult and challenging that whole industry is, as well as just the actual mechanics of doing this. They met as professional dancers in New York City, and while training, both were warned that running and other high-impact workouts would be detrimental to their professional dance careers. In search of a high-intensity, low-impact option, they discovered the trampoline as a satisfying, sweaty form of cross-training, experienced what a positive impact the unique piece of equipment had on their personal bodies and minds. They were inspired to concentrate on a method and share the lasting benefits of rebounding with their community. And they have joined us today. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. What an intro.
Hi there. I know. I feel like I should be walking out on stage, like waving now.
Well, you definitely should be. So for everyone to listen just a little bit, I have two trampolines, one on my roof and one in my office. And I've been trampolining ever since, oh God, it's been 25 years. I had an experience around the trampoline, and I was blown away by all the physiological benefits, read some books about it. And of course, I connected with a fellow by the name of David Hall, who is an extraordinary physical specimen. And what was unique about David is that he had muscles. I'm a former Mr. Universe competitor, but he had the healthiest looking muscles I had ever seen. And what I determined by a healthy muscle isn't something that looks super hard when it's not contracted. It should be soft like a cat, where you can press your fingers together on it so it's soft and supple. Yet when he did flex, it was like a steel cable. He was extremely flexible, super fit, very lean, and could speak in gusts, at about 300 miles per hour with gusts to 700. And so his cognitive function and verbal fluency was extraordinary, which he attested to the benefits of trampolining. And since that time, I've had a trampoline, I use a trampoline, I love the trampoline. But you guys have done something very unique, and you want to talk about how your background and digital communications has allowed you two to kind of like get this going. And before we get to that, I guess we should get a little bit about your background, because I think there's a lot of people out there who have a kind of a fantasy as a child to go to New York City and be a dancer. And there's all kinds of movies about it. Every 10 years, there's like a blockbuster movie that comes out, which is about my sister We used to watch Fame when I was a kid, and that's probably before both of your time, right?
Oh no, I love Fame.
I can remember where the lady comes in at the intro. She's like, "This is where you sweat," and she's like, "Oh, hard," and like just hammering you. What was that like going into that whole dancing? Like, how did you guys get wired into that before you met?
Mm-hmm. Totally. We both grew up in pre-professional ballet programs in Pennsylvania for Aly and in New York for myself. And there's two types of dance you can do when you're younger. And it's kind of a concert dance, which is more feeding you into Broadway or feeding you into companies in New York. And then there's competition dance, which is more like what you would see on So You Think You Could Dance or Dance Moms. Dance Moms, yes, that was the show, where the kids are competing and things like that. So it's kind of two different routes you can take training wise. And so we both did the concert dance ballet route, which led us into both going for our BFAs in college. And it was kind of just, for me, one of my mentors and teachers was like, "We're going to work on your college solo now." And I was like, "What?" Like didn't really understand like the audition process for school, or that you could go to school for dance. And thankfully for her, I loved it and got into a lot of schools to study and realized that you could make a career out of movement, which I didn't think was possible. And when I got to school, I also studied exercise science and dance science. So I got to combine my love of movement in this really big way. And then I moved to New York. I interned at the Harkness Center for Dance Injuries, where I got to work on the athletic training side with dancers. And then I was also performing in an immersive theater company, which is where I met Aly.
All right.
Yeah. Colette and I had a very similar start, I think pretty much all the way up until like we met each other. I think the only difference is that I told my family, I was like, "I'm going to be a dancer." I said it when I was 7, and I was like, "This is what I want, the only thing that I want to do, and that's it." And my parents were like, "Okay, if this is what you want to do, you can't do anything else. Like, you're not going to play a sport. You're not going to, no after school activities. Like, this is the thing that you're going to dedicate your time to if this is really what you want to do." And so I did that, and I went to school for I got my BFA in dance performance as well as teaching and pedagogy. I love teaching. It was something that I always enjoyed. It was my first job when I was younger, just like assisting the dance classes for younger kids at the studio that I grew up at. And I just always enjoyed that process of choreographing and creating movement and then teaching other people how to feel it within their own body. And so when I came to New York, I was also performing with a company that was touring throughout the US and internationally. And I was also teaching for an after school program that brought dance into underserved communities and after school programs. So it was teaching kids, like, I don't know, they were probably 6 through 10 or 11 years old, how to use movement as a coping mechanism and how to implement it into their lives as a way for them to get their energy out or their stress out or their anger and like deal better with some of the situations that they had going on in their, in the world around them. And I did that for many years. And then I met Colette. We were in an immersive circus show and we just like really hit it off. We had such a good time together. And Colette hired me at the fitness studio that she was working at the time. I was like, "Hey, you're nice and I know you work there. Can I have a job?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And I had always been interested in fitness at the time. My side gig was like being a cocktail waitress, but I was not thrilled about that lifestyle and looking to transition into something that was a little more holistic and like made sense with my career.
Throughout history in various cultures of society, they all have their unique forms of music as well as their unique forms of dance. Mm-hmm. And I think this is in our modern digital stare at your screen voyeuristic world. There's a great deal that is being lost and being translated into, I would say, emotional dysregulation. And anybody who has danced in any level, and I'm talking your high school dance to dancing as a child to going to a formalized dance to the levels you did as a whole other component. But can you explain to me the emotional connection that dance brings out of you and how that can be a pathway through life and a valuable pathway of life, not only as one of self-exploration and expression, but as something that, like when you go to see a professional dancer, and I've had the great fortune to do that on a few occasions. There's something mesmerizing by the human body moving at a super high sophisticated level. It becomes art. Mm-hmm. How does one? Can you explain that journey for each of you guys? Because I think it's a not described aspect of being a human.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not talked about a lot. And I think even less now as the years go on and our society becomes much more technology focused. Um, there's a, I'm a firm believer, and I know Colette agrees, that like movement is inherent. And there's a very funny comedian who says that people have a different dance threshold. For some people, they can dance on a dime. Like it just feels good for their body to move right away. And I'm definitely one of those people. But there are some people who, they don't quite feel as comfortable in their body and it takes them a little longer. But at some point, everyone understands and feels the urge to move and dance and bop, even if it's just like a little, side to side. A step touch is still a dance. And I think with that, internally, your body holds so much inside your muscles emotionally. When you're stressed, when you're sad, when you're tired, any of those feelings, you can feel that inside your body. Your body doesn't feel like it's in the best working condition. You hold that tension inside your muscles, and movement can release that. And you're literally shaking it out. You're circulating those feelings out of your body by moving your body, even the tiniest little bit. And then when you take that into a group setting, doing that with other people is something that is so beautiful, but it's also so hard to explain until you really experience. Just like moving in a space with other individuals creates an unspoken bond because it's very vulnerable, right? You're sharing a piece of your heart with other people when you're dancing, whether you're a performer or if you're, just people dancing together for fun, you're sharing a piece of your heart and you're being a little bit exposed. And so that always builds a type of really like tangible energy and a bond. I think I know my closest friends growing up and people that I feel very connected with are people that I danced with because I shared space with them. I shared movement with them. I shared sweat with them. And because you're having an emotional journey on your own and they're having an emotional journey on your own, but then you're all collectively having the journey together.
Colette, I would like to get your input on you.
Yes, I second all of that. And I think more so when you pair it with music, it becomes even more magical because, you can sit here and you can shake on your own, but there's something even, I don't know exactly how it works, but there's a radio frequency and it's coming from music, and the fact that can move through space, that you cannot see it, you can't feel it, but it goes into your body. Music permeates your body and you feel it, in that frequency, and then it kind of emits out. That to me is insane, that this like invisible, force can come and kind of lighten your mood or make you want to move. So when you pair the movement with the music, that itself is not tangible, and then the energy you create is also not tangible, but it just is really magical when it comes around others. And like you said, since the dawn of time, every community has their version of sitting around the fire or working with the shaman or doing dance in a way to ballet in the 14th century, and to the way it is now. And now New York boutique fitness, like that's taking another form also, where it becomes a religion in a way, and a spiritual journey for 30 or 40 minutes.
I believe that music is the wind of the soul, and we can kind of sail along with the music, and that's why different types of music resonate with different types of souls. And of course, there's a beautiful aspect of how you can express oneself in a non-verbal way through music. I took long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I actually took dance as an aspect prior to my successes in bodybuilding career, because I wanted to understand the movement of dancers and how that could translate to enhance my posing, is also a course in my exercise physiology study. And it was awesome and carried with me for the rest of my life. And I also love to dance. And the other thing is I don't dance as much as I used to. You get into the world and you become an executive in a company, and all of a sudden, I was a personal trainer. And, I think it was a few years ago, I ended up at the same hotel as a person that I was formerly training like 20 years before. And the girl I was dating at the time, who was a former national ballet dancer, and her friend, who was a dance professional in Toronto, they met at the hotel, and they were going off to something. And I was the old business guy sitting at the desk in the restaurant, and I thought, how the hell did this happen? How is it that something that was so important, I used to dance every weekend, I used to really get into dancing, how did I somehow magically become into this stagnated executive dealing with spreadsheets and things? And so that's an emotional sharing I want to list for my listeners. And why I'm saying this is because if you don't, in today's world, if you aren't consciously looking at a way to express it, we oftentimes forget how simple the emotional benefits as well as the physiological benefits. And I think you guys have got something here that's really unique. So can you talk about your company and how it fuses that bridge, I think, between physical expression, music, dance, and technology in a unique way at this time in the world, which I think is of great value to people?
Yeah, so our business is called The Nest, and we specialize in trampoline cardio and muscle sculpting.
Quick question. Sorry to interrupt. But what's the Nest? How did you get to the Nest?
Yeah, so the Nest is a suffix, and it's a quality or state of being, and that was really important to us when approaching fitness specifically, because it's never just the same every day. You're not going to come in and get the same workout every day or feel the same. So it was important for us to include all of the different states of being that your body takes, all the different moods that you enter our space with, or that you enter a workout in, and to address that it's not always going to be the same, and kind of using movement to help you guide and ground yourself in your state that day. So that's where the Nest comes from. It can be fitness, it can be mindfulness, it can be wellness, it can be hotness, boldness, coolness, it can be all of these things. And it's never just like, we're going to do abs now, it's never just one exercise. It's address the kind of emotional, the state that you take when you exercise.
Anything that you wanted to add to that from your perspective, Aly?
No, I mean, that's just who we are.
How did you guys come up with that? This is something that was being a market that was underserved, or no one knew about it, or there was no way of really connecting that?
Yeah, I think it's the approach that fitness and wellness needs to be, a part of your lifestyle, as opposed to just running class, or as opposed to just naming it trampoline class. Like it is so much more than just a workout. It's not just a workout. It's so important to your life. And I think the studios around us at the time, because we started just in New York and brick and mortar, were more specific to what the methodology was. So it's a boot camp, or it's a running studio, or it's a cycling studio, so we wanted to create something that, yes, we are trampoline specific at the moment, but we wanted to create something that kind of addressed the quality instead of the method and the action.
I think you guys identified something really important, and it was in your biology, and I touched on it. A lot of people want to get an intense workout, but they're not able to because of impact, especially as we age, joints, things like that. But you guys have found a way to overcome that. How did that occur? Because you said you couldn't do impact sports as a dancer. Can you explain some of the challenges that dancers have and why you went to that, and then how that translates to the general public.
Well, dancing is both high impact for sure because you're jumping. It's just you and the floor a lot of times, and it can be high intensity and low intensity, but ultimately it is pretty anaerobic because when you're in a dance class or you're doing a performance, there are times where you're essentially sprinting, right? You're performing for 2 or 3 minutes straight, you're giving it all you've got, but then you're backstage or you're on the side waiting for the next group to go and you have this downtime, so you're not really getting that consistent endurance training, even in your classes and your technical training. It's not there. It's not the way that it's designed. And so we were really missing that, but it's difficult to find a high impact or high intensity workout that allows you to get that without putting more impact on your body. And like you said earlier, we were told that other high impact exercises would be counteractive to our training because ballet training is so turned out, you're rotating from the hips, and there's not a lot of high impact movement or high intensity movement out there that incorporates those same muscle groups. And so when we discovered the trampoline, it was so exciting on so many levels because it was giving us all the things that we wanted. It was low impact, and then you could make it high intensity. And then on top of it, within our method, we're able to dance on that trampoline. So you could do parallel, you could do turned out, you can have one leg up, both legs down. Even though it's a small surface, it allows you to be so dynamic with your movement in the same way that you are in dance versus even if you think of other low impact, high intensity workouts like cycling or swimming. Those are both great options and they're easier on your body. But for cycling, you really only have that one motion. And for swimming, it's harder for people because you have to have access to water on a consistent basis, which is not something that we New Yorkers have.
Tough in New York, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not quite so accessible. And so having that low impact that allows you to like really freely move in all ranges of motion was just like a game changer for us. And it was what really helped us fall in love with it.
It's beautiful. Now, can you describe specifically how the nest works, how you've incorporated your historical aspects of dance, which is at a high level, but you've converted that into a way that people can use as a fitness, not just a fitness program. I hate to say it that because there's a lot of other things that come with it, but let's start there and we'll expand on it in a second.
Yeah, so we have all levels, from very, very simple to advanced. And we offer that in studio and we offer that online. So you don't need to know how to use the trampoline to get started. We kind of cover everything and all the basic moves for you. But what's really special that Aly did and built into the method was we create a combination at the end of every class, and that the level of the combination varies based on level. So advanced is you're going to get like a lot of beats, you're going to get a lot of kicks, you're going to be turning, changing directions. Versus simple, maybe you're putting two moves together, and working on that. And by engaging your mind in that way, you have to think about, what's coming next and what you're doing. And it really takes people out of their heads and into their movement. It allows them to drop in, which I think is just really special as opposed to running on a treadmill. And you can watch TV at the same time, and you can be on the elliptical and read. Like, when you're working out, you want to be mentally there with it too and in tune with your body. And I think if you can like do the elliptical and read, like you're probably not getting that release or being as effective as you should be. And so that's what makes the nest really special, is that combination and that mental engagement piece.
Now, with your presentation, are you teaching people in studio, but there's an online component? Can you kind of explain why this is kind of something that everybody can do, whatever the conditions that they might be subjected to, lockdowns, pandemics, can't go anywhere, the other side of the world, locked in a small apartment, who knows? What is it? Can you explain a little bit more about that?
The Bioptimizer mission is to help more of the world fix their digestion at a core level. The truth is, your digestion is only as good as your enzyme levels. Imagine trying to build a house with a tree. It's impossible. You need to chop the tree down into small pieces. Similarly, in order for your food to be used by your body, it must be broken down into a bioavailable form. And that's what enzymes do, converting protein into amino acids, fats into specific fatty acids, and carbohydrates into usable energy units. We start out with an abundance of enzymes, and that's why kids can digest just about anything really quickly. The thing is cooking food kills enzymes as they cannot survive at temperatures above 118 degrees. So years of this ends up depleting our bodies and leads to weak digestion. Taking digestive enzymes like masszymes, which has an incredibly high level of protease for digesting protein, as well as other critical enzymes like lipase, amylase, and others, is a total game changer. Suddenly, you strengthen your digestion, eliminate gas and bloating, boost metabolism, and multiply your energy. Most importantly, you fix your digestion at a core level. To get started with Masszymes and to save 10% on your first order, go to masszymes.com. That's MASSZYMES.com and use the code MASS10, MASS10.
Yeah, we have both. So you can come visit us in New York in the studio, and you can do a group class or private training. And then online, we have over 500 videos on demand. We add 2 every week of different things. They're from anywhere between 10, 30, 40 minutes. Wow. And the trampoline's great for a home workout because I'm actually sitting on one now, but it's not very big. Mm-hmm. So it's about 5 feet. You don't need a lot of space to do it. And because it's low impact, it's not very noisy. So you can have it, and it can be a piece that can slide under your bed, and you're not going to disturb the neighbors if you live in an apartment. And that's why it's so great. And it's really efficient. The amount of effort that you put into it in 30 minutes, you're going to get a lot more out of it than you would doing a different exercise. So I love it for people like moms or CEOs that are really busy, and the amount of time that they have to put into it, it's like, let's go, let's do it. It's going to be really hard, really sweaty, really effective. And you can do a lot with one piece of equipment. So I think it's a great, investment for in-home. We all have them in our apartments as well as here. I have one of my parents, like you said, you have one on the roof, you have one. A lot of our clients have them in a lot of places. They have them at their other houses, and they always need a trampoline wherever they go.
So can you talk about what kind of maybe some of the physiological benefits that people experience when they start trampoline, and what are some of the maybe stages of integrating? Because I know a lot of people, I remember the first time I got on a trampoline, and I was a trained athlete, and I got on a trampoline and I bounced, and I remember the fella that introduced me, David, says, be wary of how much you go on it to start. And I was like, oh, come on, let's feel this. I did 10 minutes the first day, and it was so fun. I got on the next day, put on some great dance tracks, and went for about an hour. And then like the next day, I felt like I'm totally seized up because I didn't realize the lymphatic effect. It just dumped all this lymphatic fluid out of me. And I realized, oh, this is doing things that other forms of exercise don't do very well. Like I could lift weights and I can kind of do my cardio really well, but something's going on here that's different.
It's happening. Yeah.
It's really unlike anything else, which I think is the beautiful part about it, but that's also the intimidating piece for people because it can be different, but it's so, you don't often have that experience, especially as someone who is athletic and you have a fitness background. When you get onto something and you're like, wow, I love this. And then you realize, oh, my body is experiencing something different. It's very cool. And I think that trying to get people to understand that that's a good thing is, something that we want to share.
Well, I think for listeners, just so you know, one of the benefits is when you're doing trampoline, there's acceleration, deceleration, and there's what I call the 0 point. So if you're jumping, say a foot off a trampoline, if you got a foot height, by the time you impact, you're actually doubling your entire weight on every single cell of the body. So if there's acceleration and deceleration, the cells compress in the down point, and then they expand on the top point. And what a lot of people don't realize is our lymphatic system is 3 times the volume of our blood system. And that is from movement. That's our detoxification pathways. Like there's, exhaust in the car. It's taking out the waste product of the body. And I got seized up because I just had waste product lying around in my body that all of a sudden got pumped out. And it's like, oh, wow. And then after, I recalibrated and retrained myself to be able to handle it. Now it's no problem. It doesn't take very long to get that benefit. What are some of the other things that people notice when they start dancing on a trampoline regularly?
Yeah. Go ahead, Colette.
You go.
I think core strength is the biggest surprise for people, because when you look at it from the outside, you're moving your legs and your arms and you think, oh, wow, like your legs are going to be so tired. But in reality, the biggest thing that you're focusing on is stabilizing yourself on an unstable surface, and that is all your core. You're moving your legs and arms in all different directions, but keeping a strong core and staying engaged through your center is what allows you to do those things. And so I think that was something that I felt when I first started. My core strength got increased quite a bit very, very quickly. So I think core stability, like developing better proprioception through the bottoms of your feet, stabilizing all of those little stabilizer muscles in your ankles and your knee joints, just allowing people to keep proper alignment and, stay safe when they're on the trampoline and off, building all those little muscle groups. The trampoline really helps with that. And then, of course, within our method, which I believe that it sounds like this is what you were doing, you're not jumping as high as you can on the trampoline. You're staying low. You really are only getting maybe a foot of height if you're really pumping those knees up into your chest.
Right.
And so with that, that's a lot of work for the backs of your legs and your glutes, because you're pushing down through your heels, because that's what's going to give you the most stability. It helps you engage the core, and it's going to keep you grounded as you're moving in all of these different directions. And then the beauty of it is when you put it all together and you create choreography that incorporates your legs and your arms and changing of directions and all of these other elements that we're throwing into the mix, it becomes full body. So then you're just getting this big dynamic movement that encompasses every piece of you.
So I want to talk a little bit about the emotional side, because I have a trampoline up on my rooftop gym here in Venice, and I get up sometimes in the mornings, early in the day, and put on my headphones. And as sun rises, I start playing some old, because I'm an old raver from way back in the day. I start playing Paul Oakenfold, one of his Burning Man tracks, or Gate Crashers, if I'm really feeling motivated. And about the 15-minute mark, something clicks, and that I'm not tired. I've gone beyond a breathing process. If I looked at my cardio output, it's definitely more than I can do on a bike, definitely more than I could do running, than everything I do in these traditional cardio things. And I'm in this state where I feel the music is carrying me. And now I probably look pretty old, this old guy standing on top of, jumping up and down on a rebounder. But, I see people kind of doing the what's going on up there, on their bicycle, their dogs. And I am in a state of euphoria. I feel like I'm high. Is that something people report? And do you know why that is?
Yeah, absolutely. Even myself this morning, I went to teach. I taught class this morning, and I was definitely in a bad mood. I was like, I need coffee. Like, where's the coffee? And then I didn't have time to get coffee. And I was like, oh, this is going to suck. And then 20 minutes in, I'm screaming my head off, and someone's in the chat. They're like, how much coffee did you have? And I was like, I had literally no coffee at all. This is just me cracked out on trampoline cardio. And that's what happens. But I think it is so much more difficult. And when you're talking about your cardio app, but it's almost like running in sand, right? You have to work to pull yourself up and out of the trampoline every time, which is going to make it 3 times more effective than doing something on the ground, because you're getting that give and that yield back up from the ground. So on the trampoline, you're not getting that. So you got to work yourself up there. I think there's something about the upward and downward motion that is just, you feel like you're flushing out any of your worries and your days like woes. I think something about that for your brain and for your system. And yeah, the euphoria piece, people all the time, it's the best part of their day. They say they come in and they're like, this is it. It's gotten me through quarantine. It's gotten me through this. I've had 2 kids and it's my only time for myself. Like, we get such emotional feedback from people surrounding it, and I feel very lucky to share that with people and kind of help them get through those sticky moments in life. That's super important. But no, I don't know why
I feel
like
like it has a lot to do with the music connection too,
yeah.
right? Like you mentioned that you're throwing on music that you know, it speaks to it. It brings back memories. It's something that you really enjoy. And I think that, you know, not we're obviously curating the music for people when they're here, but we do our best to create playlists that we know are going to uplift people and like maybe throw in songs that people will know so they can sing along. And I think it allows them to both tune in and tune out. It gets them grounded and centered in the space on their trampoline, whether they are physically with us or if they're, you know, joining us from home. But then it also, that type of focus allows them to release anything outside of them, even if it's just for a half hour or 25 minutes, however long that they have to give to this activity. And I think any time that you can do that, just like disconnect and unplug from the world around you, even for 5 minutes, it brings those little euphoric moments into your mind because you're just achieving clarity. And it's not something that we have very often. And I think the less we have it, the better it feels when you do get it.
I believe that's true. My mom, who has what I call a unique sense of wisdom, and it's a simple set of wisdom. One of the things that I couldn't quite understand when I was a kid is every Saturday night she puts on music. There's a program where they have dancing, and my dad will be sitting in the living room watching hockey, and my mom will be in the kitchen playing this music from her past, and she starts dancing. And my mom gets pretty well, like she's now 75, and Saturday nights she's got her music on dancing, and she says it's good for the soul. And there's something I think, and I want to connect this, I'm going to bring this over to you guys in a second. One of the things that she would do when she would go out to seniors' homes, and that was curtailed somewhat in the last couple of years, but she would go to the seniors' home and she put on music from when the seniors were kids. And she would dance with people, get them up out of their walkers and their chairs and their things like, and you would see people literally in a few minutes, the years fall away. They forgot they were in the home. They forgot that they had these needs. They're there dancing and doing the things. Is this something that can be utilized for older people? Or are you finding that older people are getting involved in this trampolining with the NES, I should say?
Absolutely, yeah.
We have clients of all ages, and I think the first step is the understanding of the low impact piece.
Yes.
So,
Critical.
people feel safe joining no matter how old they are, and it is safe for them. And it's something that just feels good on their body, and it's going to give them the tools that they need to continue living their lives in a healthy and more functional way as they get older. Because I think the hardest thing for people, older and in senior citizen homes is losing their balance. And because that can, open a door to a slew of problems.
Correct.
And so even spending time on the trampoline, one thing that I like to remind people is you can get so much without actually lifting your feet off the trampoline and just pressing down and staying connected. I think that a lot of people are really afraid to remove their feet off, and especially if they are older, but there's truly no reason to fear. Like, your body is there for you. And even if you're just getting the teeniest, tiniest baby bounce, that is so good for older generations because it can help them just like remain connected to their body, which is what they need so that they can understand, oh, hey, I am falling over when they're walking, or it gives them that quicker reflex, that quicker reaction to help themselves and take care of themselves for longer.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed is that without exception, when a child comes over to my place and sees the trampoline, even if they had no exposure to it, they immediately go over to it and start bouncing on it. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like automatic. And I've also noticed that a lot of kids, when they get wound up, they'll want to jump up and down on a sofa or a bed, and you say, stop doing it. I believe that there's an intrinsic detoxification management system that is inherent with jumping up and down and then using music inside of this. Do you have people who are noticing psychological benefits from participating at the nest?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many people, especially in the last couple of years, were not in a good place. And finding this movement that allowed them to, get the endorphins that you get from working out in general, just releasing your body through movement, that's a really great, psychological boost, and it's going to boost your mood and your general mental state. And then on top of it, they are, when they engage with us, they're starting to like find these little pieces and they start to feel accomplished. And so that adds another level too. They're like, oh, I've been doing this for 3 weeks and now I can do this too. And I can kick my leg out and I can kick this other leg out. And they're achieving all of these things. It's like grabbing a little token along the way. And then on top of it, I think something that we bring, which we've worked really hard to translate from our studio to online, is we really focus on community. We want to interact with people, even outside of their workout. We make it so that people can leave comments on the videos, and we engage with them through Instagram and talk to them about their workout and take their feedback and really listen to them and understand that we want them to know that we know that it's not an easy thing to do on your own. We understand that it's vulnerable. We understand you, we see you, we hear you. And so I think all of those components are pushing people to, find this happiness, find this joy, and it just enlightens them a little bit.
It's great. So, where can people find out more? How do they get access to you? What's the pricing plans? How do they get involved with the nest and all this sort of stuff? I think first and foremost, I was super excited to do this today because I love trampolining. I've advocated it for decades, and have encouraged many people, and I have feedback from people that like that. And we do it, traditional 10-15 minute routine or just dance on it. But the fact that you are professional dancers formally training movement patterns for people is extraordinary. And then you have all these programs so that people don't get bored. I'm kind of a guy that can do the same thing over and over and be happy, but a lot of people want that variety. They want that newness. They want to connect in. Give us the whole 9 yards and just aimlessly pitch away, because I want people to go to your site, check it out, and experience this.
Yeah, you can find everything on our website. It's thenestnyc.com, and you can find information about our studio, our online subscription, and then our private training. So online subscription is $39.99 a month, and then you can do a 7-day trial. So you can poke around, see if you like it. If you have a trampoline at home already, you can try all of our classes. It also comes with a complimentary consultation, so we can help kind of walk you through what level we think you're at, and we can try some things together based on your goals. And then we also have a lot of sculpt as well, which we didn't talk about as much, but it's still low impact. You don't need a trampoline to do it. So you could try us out and try one of our sculpt classes first, see if you like the vibe, and then invest in the trampoline. We sell our trampoline as well. And then you can book online private training. So everything can happen virtually, or if you're in New York, if you're visiting New York, or if you live in New York, you can come check us out at the studio. We have classes every day, 24/7, and private training as well.
Wow, that's super cool. And I'll have to come by your studio the next time I'm in New York. That sounds like so much fun. And
Yeah.
I'm going to jump onto your online program to see how that is.
We got to get you.
I haven't been trained properly from a perspective.
I think you're going to be great. I have a feeling.
I definitely got to work on my moves, so I'm excited.
Yeah. I need to see a video of you doing a combo.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I will make sure that you get access to one of those because I think it will be a lot of fun. So I'll
Perfect.
Amazing.
Once I up my game after going through the nest myself, because I don't want to disappoint you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Social media handles, things like that. People want to follow you on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are at the Nest NYC, and I am at Colette Dong, and Aly is at Aly Giampolo. Feel free to slide into our DMs. We love chatting with everybody at all times.
We love to chat.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us on the Awesome Health Podcast today. And for all our listeners, if you've been struggling to get your fitness on, you may be a little embarrassed to go to the gym. Maybe you can't go to the gym for whatever reason, or you have a small space and little time. I can honestly say from personal experience, using a trampoline and what is extraordinary, and what better way than to connect with professional dancers that can walk you through a whole series that you can get new stuff, fun stuff, progressive stuff in the comfort of your own home. Be sure to check them out, www.thenestdigital.com, of course, www.instagram.com/thenestSync/ and of course the other notes will be here as the ladies listed. I hope you check it out. I think it'll be worth your while, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. We'll see you next time on the Awesome Health Podcast. Take care.
At Bioptimizers, our mission is to fix digestion, and a cornerstone of digestion is gut flora. P3OM is our patented probiotic formula. In fact, we call it the Navy SEALs of probiotics. You see, strong proteolytic or protein digesting activity is paramount to having a healthy gut flora. And of course, P3OM provides that. The good news is, unlike weaker probiotics, P3OM survives the digestion process. What it does is it basically multiplies the good guys while protecting you against pathogens, or what some people call the bad guys. P3OM really helps to rebuild your digestion. And what that allows you to do is to maximize nutrient uptake, energy, and metabolism. To find out more of how P3OM can help you, go to www.bioptimizers.com.
Thank you for listening to the Bioptimizers Awesome Health Podcast. You can find more information at bioptimizers.com.